Hey Rayleigh, and anyone else watching, and welcome back to another message from your father. So Exodus 5 through 7 is where we're picking up today. Now, yesterday we were introduced to Moses. We were introduced to a lot of different things about Moses. So the burning bush, or kind of Moses' calling, God's signs to Moses to say, hey, I've chosen you, and the signs that are to be performed in front of Pharaoh to say, hey, this is my power. Let my people go. And here's a warning. And so he tells Moses at least about some of these. But he also tells Moses, hey, this is not going to go well for Pharaoh. I already know what I'm going to ask of him in that I will deliver my people and his son will pass. So we'll see all of that. What are we looking at? Bricks without straw today, a promise of deliverance from God, the family record of Moses and Aaron, and then finally a plague of blood. And then we'll also see the dark art stuff of the sorcerers and magicians using their talents to turn staffs into snakes. So we'll see God do that, and we'll see their retaliation. So we'll see that. All of that in 5 through 7. So chapter 5. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go so that they may hold a festival to me in the desert." Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now, let us take a 3-day journey into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword." But the king of Egypt said, "Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to work." Then Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working." That same day, Pharaoh gave his order to the slave drivers and foremen in charge of the people. "You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw, but require them to make the same number of bricks as they did before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy, and that is why they are crying out, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Make the work harder for the men so that they keep working and pay no attention to lies." Then the slave drivers and foremen went out and said to the people, "This is what Pharaoh says. I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it. But your work will not be reduced at all." So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, "Complete the work required of you each day, just as when you had straw." The Israelite foremen appointed to Pharaoh's slave drivers were beaten and were asked, "Why didn't you meet your quota of bricks yesterday, or today, or as before?" Then the Israelite foreman went and appealed to Pharaoh. "Why have you treated our servants this way? Your servants are given no straw, yet we are told, 'Make bricks.' Your servants are being beaten, but the fault is with your own people." Pharaoh said, "Lazy. That is what you are, lazy. That is why you keep saying, 'Let us go and sacrifice to the Lord.' Now, get to work. You will not be given any straw, yet you must produce your full quota of bricks." The Israelite foremen realized they were in trouble when they were told, "You are not to reduce the number of bricks required for you each day." Then they left Pharaoh and found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them. And they said, "May the Lord look upon you and judge you. You have made us a stench to Pharaoh and his officials, and have put a sword in their hand to kill us." Moses returned to the Lord and said, "O Lord, why have you brought trouble upon your people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak your name, he has brought trouble upon the people, and you have not rescued your people at all." Chapter 6. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. Because of my mighty hand, he will let them go. Because of my mighty hand, he will drive them out of his country." God also said to Moses, "I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but by my name, the Lord, I did not make myself known to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, where they lived as aliens. Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites, whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore, say to the Israelites, 'I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. I will free you from being slaves to them, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm, and with mighty acts of judgment. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God, who brought you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. And I will bring you to the land that I swore with uplifted hand to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord." Moses reported this to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their discouragement and cruel bondage. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go, tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the Israelites go out of his country." But Moses said to the Lord, "If the Israelites will not listen to me, why would Pharaoh listen to me, since I speak with faltering lips?" Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron about the Israelites and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he commanded them to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. These were the heads of their families. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, were Hanok and Palau, Hezron and Carmi. These were the clans of Reuben. The sons of Simeon with Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shual, the son of a Canaanite woman. These were the clans of Simeon. These were the names of the sons of Levi, according to their records: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Levi lived 137 years. The sons of Gershon by clans were Libni and Shimei. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Issachar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Kohath lived 133 years. The sons of Merari were Mahli and Mushi. These were the clans of Levi according to their records. Amram married his father's sister, Jochebed, who bore him Aaron and Moses. Amram lived 137 years. The sons of Izhar were Korah, Nepheg, and Zikri. Sons of Uzziel were Mishael, Ezalaphan, and Sithri. Aaron married Elisheba, daughter of Amminadab, and the daughter of Nashon, and she bore him Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The sons of Korah were Asir, Elkanah, and Abisaph. These were the Korahite clans. Eleazar, son of Aaron, married one of the daughters of Putel, and she bore him Phinehas. These were the heads of the Levite families, clan by clan. It was this same Aaron and Moses to whom the Lord said, "Bring the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions." They were the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, about bringing the Israelites out of Egypt. It was the same Moses and Aaron. Now, when the Lord spoke to Moses in Egypt, he said to him, "I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, everything I tell you." But Moses said to the Lord, "Since I speak with faltering lips, why would Pharaoh listen to me?" Chapter 7. Then the Lord said to Moses, "See, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. You are to say everything I command you, and your brother Aaron is to tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go out of his country. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though I multiply my miraculous signs and wonders in Egypt, he will not listen to you. Then I will lay my hand on Egypt, and with mighty acts of judgment I will bring out my divisions, my people of the Israelites. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites out of it." Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded them. Moses was 80 years old and Aaron 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When Pharaoh says to you, 'Perform a miracle,' then say to Aaron, 'Take your staff and throw it down before Pharaoh, and it will become a snake.'" So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did just as the Lord commanded. Aaron threw his staff down in front of Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a snake. Pharaoh then summoned wise men and sorcerers, and the Egyptians and magicians also did the same things by their secret arts. Each one threw down his staff, and it became a snake. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. Yet Pharaoh's heart became hard, and he would not listen to them, just as the Lord said. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh's heart is unyielding. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning as he goes out to the water. Wait on the bank of the Nile to meet him, and take in your hand the staff that was changed into a snake. Then say to him, 'The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to say to you, let my people go, so that they may worship me in the desert. But until now you have not listened. This is what the Lord says. By this you will know that I am the Lord. With the staff that is in my hand, I will strike the water of the Nile, and it will be changed into blood. The fish in the Nile will die, and the river will stink. The Egyptians will not be able to drink its water." The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron, take your staff and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over the streams and canals, over the ponds and all the reservoirs, and they will turn to blood. Blood will be everywhere in Egypt, even in the wooden buckets and stone jars." Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded. He raised his staff in the presence of Pharaoh and his officials and struck the water of the Nile, and all the water was changed into blood. The fish of the Nile died, and the river smelled so bad that the Egyptians could not drink its water. Blood was everywhere in Egypt. But the Egyptian magicians did the same things by their secret arts, and Pharaoh's heart became hard. He would not listen to Moses and Aaron, just as the Lord had said. Instead, he turned and went into his palace, and did not take this to heart. And all the Egyptians dug along the Nile to get drinking water, because they could not drink water from the Nile. So, sorry, still a little stuffed up. The interesting thing I think about this is when I used to read this, I would get a little worried or concerned saying, hey, Pharaoh's magicians and artists and their sorcerers, that's the word I was looking for, and sorcerers did all this stuff as well. I mean, they did the same things. They turned water into blood and staves into snakes. And it's really interesting. Number one, we don't know how they did it. It says, I think, by their secret arts. So it really could be two things going on here, right? So, excuse me, I'm sorry. So Moses throws down his staff and it turns into a snake. Now we know that's God. God has said, hey, I'm going to do this. And these magicians appear to do the same. So it could be, we don't know, but it could be a illusion. It could be a sleight of hand. If they have seen this and heard about it, they get snakes and swap it out. Or it could be something a lot darker. And I think I tend to think that it's something a lot darker. It says by their secret arts. And if it's by something darker, then it almost seems like they have evil power. So power that Satan has allowed them to have or something. Again, I don't know exactly how they're doing this. And so that used to worry me. When I would read this, it would worry me. Just because I was like, man, they're doing the same things that God is. Maybe a forgery, maybe it's an illusion, but we don't know. It just appears to be the same thing. Same thing with the blood and the water. It was like, oh, that's intense. And yet, God's snake swallows up theirs. It's God is getting rid of the counterfeits, getting rid of the evil to accomplish his purpose. So, I don't know. It matters how they're doing it, but in the end, it doesn't matter at all. Not to God. God destroys the counterfeit, and that is awesome. So that's my prayer for you, Rayleigh, is that you recognize what is good and what is from God and what is holy, and you create that differentiation between the dark stuff in life and what God has intended, what God's path is. Anyway, know that I love you and I'm praying for you, and I'm sorry about my cold. I'm a little stuffed up. And anyone else watching, know that I appreciate you as well. I will plan on seeing you tomorrow. Love you. Bye.